did not follow us into the house as anyone else would have done. Seems to me to show they have some sense of shame left.
They have been eating muffins. They look like repentance.
They don't seem to notice us at all. Can you come?
But I haven't got a cough.
They are looking at us with effrontery.
They're approaching. That's very forward of them.
Let us be silent for dignified silence.
Certainly is the only thing to do now.
This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect.
A most distasteful one.
But will not be the first to speak.
Certainly not.
Mr. Waffing, I have something very particular to ask you, and it much depends on your reply.
Gwendolyn, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, can you answer me the following question? What is you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
In order that I might have the opportunity of meeting you.
That certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not?
Just dear, if you can believe him.
I don't. But that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer.
True, in matters of great importance, the style and not sincerity is a vital thing. Mr. Waffing, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have the opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible?
Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax?
I have the greatest doubt on the subject, but I intend to question. This is not the moment for German skepticism. The explanation seems to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Waffing's. That seems to me to show that seems to show a stamp of truth on it.
I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone inspired one with absolute credulity.
Then you think we should forgive him?
Yes, I mean no.
True, I had forgotten there are principles of state that one cannot surrender. But which if I should tell them, the task is not a pleasant one.
Could we both not speak at the same time?
An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me?
Certainly. Your Christian names I see in Super Barrier. That is all.
Our Christian names.
Is that all? But we're going to be christened this afternoon.
For my sake, you are prepared to do such a terrible thing?
I am.
To please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal.
I am.
How absurd to talk about the equality of sexes while questions of self-sacrifice are concerned when are infinitely generous.
We are.
They have moments of physical courage of which we women know absolutely nothing.
Darling.
Darling.
Lady Bracknell.
Good heavens.
Gwendolyn, what does this mean?
Merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Waffing, Mama.
Sit down. Sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. A prize, sir, of my daughter set in flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence did I purchase by means of a small coin. I followed her at once by a luggage train. Of course, you may clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment on. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm.
I am engaged to be married to Gwendolyn, Lady Bracknell.
You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now as regards Algernon. Algernon?
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
May I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend Mr. Bunbury resides?
Oh, Mr. Bunbury does not live here. Mr. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead.
Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden.
I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon.
What did he die of?
Bunbury? He was quite exploded.
Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity.
My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury can have death. That is what I mean, so Bunbury died.
He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, Who is that young person's hand whom my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner?
That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my word.
I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Moncrief and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell.
I do not know whether there is anything particularly exciting in this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that seem to be going on seem to be considerably above the number of proper statistics that have been laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part will not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected to any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families of persons whose origin was a terminus.
Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mrs. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Jeffers Park, Turkey-on-the-Spurn, 5shire, NB.
That sounds not unsatisfactory. 3 addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen.
I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificates of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, and the measles, both the English and the German variety.
Ah, a life credit with incident, I see, although somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I'm not myself in favor of premature experiences. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Miss Cardew has any little fortune.
Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all in Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you.
$130,000? Pounds? And in the funds? Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Come here, dear. Your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems to be almost as nature might have left it. But we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a marvelous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending her once to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her husband did not even know her.
And after 6 months, nobody knew her.
Kindly turn around, sweet child. No, the side view is what I want. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile.
Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care tuppence about social possibilities.
Do not speak disrespectfully about society, Algernon. Only people who can't get into it do that. My dear child, of course you must know that Algernon has nothing but his stats to depend on. And I am not myself in favour of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind, but I never dreamt for a moment of allowing that to stand my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent.
Yes, Aunt Augusta.
Cecily, you may kiss me.
Thank you, Lady Bracknell.
You may call me Aunt Augusta for the future.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
The marriage, I think, had better take place quite soon.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
I'm not myself in favour of long engagements. They give people the opportunity of learning about each other's character, something which I think is never advisable before marriage.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you again, Lady Bracknell, but I'm Miss Cardew's guardian, and she cannot marry with my consent till she comes of age. That consent I decline to give.
On what grounds, may I ask? Algernon is an extremely, I may almost say, ostentatiously eligible young man. He has nothing, but he looks everything. What more can one desire?
It pains me very much to have to speak frankly about your nephew to you, Lady Bracknell, but the fact is that I don't approve at all his moral character. I suspect him of being untruthful.
Untruthful? My nephew Algernon? Impossible. He's from Oxford.
I feel there can be no possible doubt about the matter. This afternoon, during my temporary absence in London on an important question of romance, he obtained permission to my house by the false pretense of being my brother. He succeeded in the course of the afternoon in alienating the affections of my only ward. And what makes his conduct all the more heartless is that he is perfectly well aware from first that I have no brother, that I never had a brother, and that I don't intend to have a brother, not even of any kind. I distinctively told him so yesterday afternoon.
After careful consideration, I have decided to entirely overlook my nephew's conduct towards you.
That is very generous of you, Lady Bracknell. My decision, however, is unalterable. I decline to give my consent.
Come here, dear. How old are you, child?
Well, I'm really only 18, but I'll always send me to 20 at evening parties.
You're perfectly right in making some slight alteration. Indeed, no woman should ever be quite accurate about her age. It looks so calculating. 18, but admitting to 20 in evening parties. Well, it will not be long before you come of age and free from the restraints of tutelage. So I think your guardian's consent is, after all, a matter of no importance.
I beg your pardon for interrupting you again, Lady Bracknell, but it is only fair to tell you that according to her grandfather's will, Miss Cardew does not come of age till she is 35.
That does not seem to be a grave objection. 35 is a very attractive age. Indeed, London society is full of women of the very highest birth who have remained 35 of their own free choice for years.
Algie, could you wait for me till I was 35?
Of course I could, Cecily. You know I could.
Yes, I feel instinctively, but I couldn't wait all the time. I hate waiting even 5 minutes for anybody, and waiting even to be married is quite out of the question.
Then what is to be done, Cecily?
I don't know, Mr. Moncrief.
Mr. Worthing, as Miss Cardew states positively that she cannot wait till she is 35, or remark that she seems to show a somewhat impatient nature, I would beg of you to reconsider your decision.
But my dear Lady Bracknell, the matter is entirely in your own hands. The moment you consent to my marriage to Gwendolen, I will most gladly allow your nephew to form an alliance with my ward.
You must know that what you propose is out of the question.
Then a passionate celibacy is all that either of us can look forward to.
That is not the destiny I propose for Gwendolen. Algernon, of course, can choose for himself. Come, dear. We have already missed 5, if not 6 trains. To miss any more might expose us to comment on the platform.
Everything's quite ready for the christenings.
The christenings? Isn't that somewhat premature?
Will the gentlemen of this precise hired for immediate baptism?
At their age, the idea is grotesque and irreligious. Algernon, I forbid you.
Am I to understand that there is to be no christening at all this afternoon?
I don't think that, as things are now, it would be of much practical value to either of us, Dr. Chasuble.
I am glad to hear such sentiments from you, Mr. Worthing. However, as your present mood seems to be peculiarly secular, I will return to the church at once. Indeed, I have just been informed by the pew opener that Miss Prism has been waiting for me in the vestry.
Miss Prism? Did I hear you mention a Miss Prism?
Yes, Lady Bracknell, I am on my way to Jonah.
Pray allow me to detain you for a moment. This may be of vital importance for Lord Bracknell and myself. Is this Miss Prism a female of repellent aspect, remotely connected with education?
She's the most cultivated of ladies and the very picture of respectability.
Yes, she's obviously the same person. May I ask what position she holds in your household?
I'm a celibate, madam.
Miss Prism, Lady Bracknell has been for the last few years Miss Cardew's esteemed governess and valued companion.
In spite of what I hear of her, I must see her at once. Let her be sent for.
She approaches. She's mine.
I was told you expected me in the vestry, Canon. I have been waiting there for an hour and 3/4.
Prism, come here, Prism. Where is that baby? 28 years ago, you left Lord Bracknell's house, number 104, Upper Grosvenor Street, in charge of a preambulator that contained a baby of male sex. You never returned. 12 weeks later, after the remote investigation of the Metropolitan Police, the perambulator was found standing by itself in a remote corner of Bayswater. It contained the manuscript of a 3-volume novel of more than revolting sentimentality. But the baby was not there. Prism, where is that baby?
On the morning of the day you mentioned, a day that will forever be branded on my memory, I prepared as usual to take the baby out in its perambulator. I had also with me a somewhat old but capacious handbag, in which I intended to place the manuscripts of a work of fiction that I had been working on during my few unoccupied hours. In a moment of mental abstraction, for which I can never forgive myself, I deposited the baby in the handbag and the manuscripts in the bassinet.
But where did you deposit the handbag, Miss Prism?
Do not ask me, Mr. Worthing.
Miss Prism, this is a matter of no small importance to me. I insist on knowing where did you deposit the handbag that contained an infant?
I left it in the cloakroom of one of the largest railway stations in London.
What railway station?
Victoria, the Brighton line.
Gwendolen, I must return to my room for a moment. Wait here for me.
If you are not long, I will wait for you all my life.
What do you think this means, Lady Bracknell?
I dare not even suspect, Dr. Chasuble. I need not to tell you that in families of high positions, strange coincidences are not supposed to occur. They are hardly considered the thing.
Uncle Jack seems strangely agitated.
Your guardian has a very emotional nature.
This noise is extremely unpleasant. It sounds as if he was having an argument. I dislike arguments of any kind. They are always vulgar and often convincing.
It has to stop now.
I wish he would arrive at some conclusion.
The suspense is terrible. I hope it will last.
Is this a handbag, Miss Prism? Examine it carefully before you speak. The happiness of more than one life depends on your answer.
It seems to be mine. Yes, here's an injury that it received through the upsetting Fakawa Street omnibus in younger, happy days. And here's a stain in the lining caused by an explosion of a temperance beverage, an incident that occurred at Leamington. And here, on the log, are my initials. I had forgotten that I had had them placed there. The bag is undoubtedly mine. I am delighted to have it so unexpectedly restored to me.
More is restored to you than this handbag. I was a baby you placed in it.
You?
Yes, mother.
Mr. Worthing, I'm unmarried.
Unmarried? I do not deny it is a serious blow, but after all, who has the right to cast a stand against one who has suffered? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there has to be some error. There is a lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Brangner, I hate to seem inquisitive, but could you kindly inform me who I am?
I'm afraid that the news I have to tell you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algie said a brother? Then I had a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I told you I had a brother. Dr. Chasuble, my unfortunate brother. Miss Prism, my unfortunate brother. Cecily, my unfortunate brother. Gwendolyn, my unfortunate brother. Lady Bracknell, my unfortunate brother. My unfortunate brother. Algie, you young scoundrel, you have to treat me with more respect in the future. You have never behaved to me like a brother all your life.
Well, not today, old boy, I admit. I did my best, however, I was out of practice.
My own? But what honor you? What is your Christian name now that you have become someone else?
Good heavens, I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is irrevocable, I suppose.
I never change except in my affections.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolyn.
Lady Bracknell, at the time I was placed in the handbag, had I already been christened?
Every luxury that money could buy have been lavished upon you by your fond and doted parents, including christening.
Then I was christened. Now, that is certain. Now, what name was I given?
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father's name.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot recall at the present moment what the general's name was, but I have no doubt he had one.
Algie, couldn't you recall our father's Christian name?
No, we were never even speaking terms. He died before I was a year old.
Aunt Augusta. His name would have been the army list of the period, I suppose.
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his domestic life. But I have no doubt that his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists of the last 40 years are here. These delightful records should have been my constant study. M. Generals. Malan, Macron, Markley. What ghastly names they have. Markby, Mixby, Moves, Moncrief. Lieutenant, 1840. Captain, Lieutenant Colonel. Colonel. General, 1869. Christian names? Ernest John. I always told you, Gwendolyn, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, in actually it's Ernest.
Yes, I remember now that the general's name was Ernest. I knew I had a particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest, my own Ernest. I knew from the first that you could have no other name.
Gwendolyn, it is a terrible thing for a man to discover that all his life he has been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
My own one.
Letitia,
Frederick, at last.
Cecily, at last.
Gwendolyn, at last.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of triviality.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.